the mall. You're getting hungry, and everybody's trying to lure you in.
Step right up. Hit a burger, get a burger. Hot potato, get a burger. Hot potato.
Please, toy with a chili dog.
But nothing can lure you away from Chick-Fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, taste our chicken sandwich. You'll love it for good.
Hi, welcome to Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, love it for good once you taste it. Tender nuggets so good, come on and taste it. Chick-fil-A.
Taste Chick-fil-A at Oglethorpe Mall in Savannah.
You're not crazy for noticing that some of the foods that we grew up with just don't taste the same anymore. Welcome back to the Great Food Downgrade, where we dig into why your favorite foods made by brands you thought you could trust taste worse and worse as the years go by, due to companies valuing profits over quality.
You ever take a bite of something you used to trust with your life, and your brain goes, wait, hold on, that's just not the same. Not like they messed up your order, not like the location is bad, but the product itself feels like it shifted flavor, texture, smell, the whole vibe. Lately, a lot of people have been saying this about Chick-fil-A. Yes, the iconic Chick-fil-A, the place that we thought would never change in consistency. At least I did. Now what we're dealing with is a whole new beast. I don't know what to expect when I go to Chick-fil-A these days. Am I going to get the weird pink meat? Or am I going to get the iconic crispy Chick-fil-A that we know and love? Let's dive into some of the reasons why that question is harder to answer in 2026 than it has ever been since the inception of Chick-fil-A. So anybody that's ever been to Chick-fil-A knows the truth. Chick-fil-A is not just chicken, it's a promise. They give you the whole 9 yards of customer service. It's consistent, it's hot, it's clean, it's fast, it's polite. The same every time you go to it. I think that's why when we start to talk about the decline of Chick-fil-A, a lot of people get up in arms because the brand's identity is literally reliability. That's the whole backing behind it. That's why we've come to enjoy it so much. So when we say, hey, this brand is not reliable anymore, a lot of people take offense with that, especially people that are used to living in nostalgia and used to things being as they were or as they always have been. But I'm here to tell you right here and now, Chick-fil-A is not the same as it always has been. So before you can understand the decline, you have to understand the history. So let's start back at the beginning. Chick-fil-A's origin story starts in 1946 in Hapeville, Georgia, when a founder, S. Truett Cathy, opened a small diner called the Dwarf Grill, later known as the Dwarf House. I think this is important to note and important to our story because the Chick-fil-A standard didn't start in a corporate, sterilized environment. It started from a restaurant mindset and a small restaurant mindset by one woman. And so keep that in mind as we continue throughout this story and how Chick-fil-A has changed over the years. So according to Chick-fil-A's own history, Truett Cathy developed the now famous chicken sandwich concept in the Dwarf House era. And the chain frames the how it started story around the sandwich journey. The first actual Chick-fil-A restaurant location opened in 1967 in Atlanta, Georgia. So anybody who is familiar with Chick-fil-A from way back in the day when it first opened knows that Chick-fil-A expanded through mall food courts. So yeah, it wasn't until much later where they expanded into freestanding locations like we're used to today with the modern drive-through model that basically prints money. Those freestanding locations didn't come until much later. Back in 67, we started with the All-American Greenbrier Mall, that first location in the mall, yummy mall food, and actually it stayed in the malls for quite some time. So throughout the 70s and 80s, new locations opened in suburban malls across America, usually located in the food court. The first freestanding location wasn't open until April 16th, 1986, and that was also opened in Atlanta, Georgia. I think that's really important to our story about the decline of Chick-fil-A because if you think about it, competing in a mall food court, especially back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, where malls really dominated America, that was no small feat. Like you had to compete with big brands like Panda Express. You had different different restaurants within the food court that you had to compete with. Even like a local place within the food court, you would have to compete with. So your food had to be delicious for customers to choose you over, say, the Panda Express or the pizza place that is also located in the food court. So that just lets you know that for them to start out within the food court, within the mall area, within that whole arena, they had to come in heavy hitting with quality ingredients and quality service. So, in a way, this eventual decline that we start to see was almost in the cards forever, because what happens when you expand past a small food court to freestanding locations is the bigger the system gets, the more it's engineered for scale. You guys know I like to give you real life examples of people complaining or at least noticing the differences within the food that we talk about. So here's a post from Reddit. Someone asked, is it me or Chick-fil-A sandwiches don't taste the same like they used to? They go on to say the chicken is much smaller and drier. I feel like the quality has went down. This was posted in the Chick-fil-A subreddit almost 2 years ago. I think what's most interesting about this post is the gaslighting in the comments. People go on to say, I have not noticed what the OP is mentioning. Have you? And then the OP goes on to say the chicken quality has gone down. Luckily, someone else chimed in and said, yes, the quality is actually different. They used to use no antibiotics ever chicken, and now they use chicken with no antibiotics important to human medicine. And that's an important distinction, and we are actually going to deep dive into these ingredient changes. Just want you guys to really understand that multiple people are noticing this. This isn't just one person explaining that they feel like something's off. There are multiple reports of this. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a couple of video clips that I did find from people kind of talking about how the quality is much different from what they remember. Here's another post from Reddit that I found quite interesting. It had quite a few upvotes, so I'm going to go ahead and read it. This was from 3 months ago. This person said Chick-fil-A's quality has really gone downhill, starting to question if it's even worth it anymore. My typical simple order just doesn't taste the same as it used to. I mean the entire thing. Spicy classic sandwich, large french fries. The chicken is a hit or miss on quality at times. Sometimes thin, tough meat. Expected this since they gave a heads up about it, so whatever. The bun for the sandwich seems like it has changed at some point. I only noticed a month or two ago. To me, it's low quality and more sugary, processed, and yellow tasting. Like buying the cheapest Walmart brand buns if you've ever done that. The fries, stopped loving them since they started adding the starch coating or whatever it is. It has changed the flavor quite a bit for me. This is not even getting into the portions and price. I was fine with paying a premium because you were getting good quality, tasty, consistent stuff. Now everything has gone downhill quite drastically. This post was interesting to me because it had quite a few upvotes, almost 340 upvotes on this. 358 upvotes on this post, with 159 comments going in on Chick-fil-A, and most of them are in agreement with the original poster. This person goes on to say, couldn't have said it better. The quality has decreased. Another Chick-fil-A employee chimed in. They said, we've noticed it too. Believe me, our filet quality is horrible now. They've either ripped, too stringy, or super small. I don't see anyone mention this, but our breakfast biscuits are horrible now. They're super crumbly and dry. And honestly, I have noticed that because fun fact, I get their chicken biscuit quite often, maybe once or twice a week, and I've noticed the biscuit quality isn't even as good. So that is one thing. And then that employee goes on to say, of course, they changed the fry recipe. It's all unfortunately gone downhill. And keep in mind, guys, this was posted 3 months ago. So if you're thinking about going to Chick-fil-A, just remember that your quality, the quality that you used to get for the same price, if not a higher price, because Lord, they have increased the prices of so many things on their menu. But just know that you were not getting the same quality for the same price that you got even 5 years ago. So it's shocking how much our food has been downgrading just over the course of a couple of years. Mind you, Chick-fil-A is $1 million company. Like they have so much money. They make millions of dollars every day. And for them to decrease their quality like this without increasing prices, this isn't like we're still in the pandemic. And I mean, we are still dealing with the effects of the pandemic, but we are not still in the bulk of the pandemic where companies had to cut down on quality ingredients because things were out of stock. Now, what we're seeing is just pure greed. Companies are cutting down on the qualities of things, and the only person that is really benefiting off of that is usually a CEO or someone higher up in the company who's getting a large bonus for saving the company money. But the customers that purchase this product and that the company relies on to even survive, the customers are not happy. And what really worries me, especially because I am really serious about the quality of different companies in America and our American products, and especially the food that we eat here, worries me is the possibility of us losing those quality meals and those quality flavors that we used to have not even 10 years ago. I mean, the food landscape in this country has changed so drastically within the last 10 years that I don't think most people can wrap their heads around it. So I'm just worried that we lose that essence of what can be and what was. So this is the whole point of this channel. And I really thank you guys for sticking with me. I know it's been a while since my last video, but I am back and we are really going to dive into a lot of these foods and how they have changed over the years in America. The truth is, Chick-fil-A is never going to come out and say, we have a brand new chicken recipe and I hope you guys like it, but you might not. They're never going to come out and say that. What they're going to do is kind of silently roll it out and you'll kind of feel like something's different, but you won't be able to put your finger on it. And you're just buying a crappier version of the same thing that you got 10 years ago that was actually quality for the same price. So that's what we're trying to avoid here. I'm trying to save you guys some money and time, because if you're feeling like something tastes different like I have for the last couple of years, chances are it really is different. So let's go ahead and deep dive into that. We do have some documented changes about this exact time period that people are talking about. We're talking about within the last year or two, that affect the supply chain and the Chick-fil-A experience. So in October of 2008, Chick-fil-A announced it eliminated artificial trans fat from its entire menu. And here's what most people miss. Removing trans fat isn't just like a label change. It often means changing oils, shortenings, and the fry and bake behavior, which can affect the texture and quality, especially on fries and biscuits. So if you notice a change around that time, that's why. One trade outlet noted that Chick-fil-A changed recipes for items like waffle fries and breakfast biscuits in the process. And I will link that article to this video so you guys can check it out. Fast forward to December of 2013, the Associated Press reported that Chick-fil-A said it was working to remove high fructose corn syrup from its white buns and artificial dyes from sauces and dressings, starting with tests in Georgia and later rollouts. The same report also mentions removing a yellow dye from the chicken soup. Now, the reason why I'm letting you know these changes that happened back in 2008 and 2013, is because these are important. these buns and sauces. These are tiny little formulation differences that show up very gradually. So when you taste a sandwich, or even when you get those fries and you dip them in your favorite sauce and you're wondering, why does this taste a little different? Now you know. It's a very gradual change, and that's how they get you. So now let's fast forward a lot. We're now at January of 2022. Now this is when I started to notice the quality had definitely declined. I mean, before I was like, the sauce is a little different here. Maybe a bun is different there. No. In 2022, this is well after COVID had started. This is when we see a serious, serious decline. So Newsweek documents a viral TikTok on January of 2022 where an alleged Chick-fil-A employee showed lemonade being made using prepackaged lemon juice with pulp, and then they put the sugar and water in it. This is really important because everybody knows the lemonade at Chick-fil-A was squeezed by like angels themselves. Like it's just delicious. But around 2022, if you notice a change in the lemonade, it's because they were no longer using fresh lemons. They were using lemon juice with pulp, which was a prepackaged product. Newsweek also quoted around that time that Chick-fil-A was saying that they extract lemon juice outside the restaurant with equipment to keep up with demand while still using real lemon juice and keeping the 3-ingredient message. Anybody who believes that, I have a bridge to sell you. They are extracting the lemon juice outside of the restaurant because it's quicker. It's lemonade. It doesn't take a whole lot to make. They did it in a restaurant for decades. And now you're telling me suddenly after COVID, they had to start using the the concentrate. So yeah, we can go with that, but keep in mind the lemonade used to be hand squeezed by the Chick-fil-A employees every day. Every day. And now it is concentrate. So if you notice the difference in the lemonade, if the lemonade doesn't hit like it used to, now you know why. Here's the big change where we started getting pink slimy meat, and we started getting meat that looked like it was from SpongeBob, the holographic meatloaf where he bit into the sandwich. He bit into the Krabby Patty and it was just gray meat inside. That's the era that we're getting into now. We're getting into the 2024 change. So Chick-fil-A announced that it was moving from no antibiotics ever to no antibiotics important to human medicine starting in spring of 2024. So Chick-fil-A's own Great Food page now describes their chicken as raised with no antibiotics important to human medicine, plus no fillers and no artificial preservatives. It reminds that US chickens has no added hormones, which is a regulatory reality. Anybody that is confused about what that means, because I was at first as well. To be super clear, this policy doesn't mean like antibiotics in your sandwich. It's about how the chicken is raised and treated. It does point to a bigger reality. If maintaining the old standard became difficult at scale, then the supply system is under pressure. What happens when the supply system is under pressure? We start seeing a decrease in quality. So, portion size, trimming, texture, consistency, hold times, quality, all of that will start to vary when you start to put pressure on that supply system. And that's what we saw a lot during COVID. But keep in mind, this is all happening in 2024. So not even like barely 2 years ago. COVID had already been in full swing and already died down by then. So they have no reasoning to do this besides cutting costs and basically, I don't want to say defrauding customers, but tricking them, I guess, allegedly, because a lot of customers don't know that this is their reality, that their ingredients, their food has changed so much in just 1 year.